And welcome in, everybody, to the Last Row Podcast, a fan's perspective on sports. It's Brian here inside the ARM Media Solutions Studios on this Saturday night, May the 23rd, 2026. Hope you are happy, hope you are healthy, hope you are well, wherever it is you are on this Memorial Day weekend. So glad that you are with us, whether that is through Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Lots to get to, a little bit of time to do it. It's going to be an abbreviated edition tonight as we are currently watching in the fourth quarter of the Eastern Conference Finals. We've got the Knicks right now on top, 91-82, 11 minutes to go in the game. We'll get you caught up on that. Hey, Sticky, how are you? Big thanks to our friends over at I Know a Guy Remodeling. We will hear from them here in just a little bit. We'll also hear from our friends over at Forever Finds Thrift again, and we thank them for all of their support here throughout our show. Make sure you check us out on our social media platforms. You can check us out on TikTok and TikTok Live if you are part of the chat. Thank you so much for doing so. You can check us out there at last.row.podcast. Make sure you check us out on X at Last Row Podcast. Check out our website, www.lastrowpodcast.com. There is where you can find links to all of our wonderful sponsors. Sorry, I just had an alert come on real quick. So we are good to go. And, you can check us out on the website as well. LastRowPodcast.com. The Knicks have gone on a little bit of a run here, and now it's a 14-point lead. Cleveland down 96-82. I will just say this. When New York wins this game, this series is done. When the Knicks win this game, the series is over. And then you can start talking about what went wrong for the Cavs in this series. And I can tell you, and I'm going to point to a few things here tonight that we can talk about, that we've discussed ad nauseum on the show. And quite honestly, it's one of the biggest downfalls, I think, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'll just be frank with you. It's going to cost Kenny Atkinson his job. And there's a lot of people that believe that Kenny Atkinson was already on the hot seat. There's a lot of people that think that Mike Brown is also on the hot seat, and I'm one of them. But Kenny Atkinson for sure. And here's the reasons why, okay? Once again, we're seeing Cleveland go with a four-man bench. You're talking about Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Dean Wade. Okay, Wade doesn't provide really anything. Let's be honest here. Okay, Wade gives you more defensive side of the ball. Doesn't do a whole lot offensively. Okay, but then you look at their bench for the Cavs, and they don't have any. I mean, they got Schroeder, Strus, Merrill, and Tyson. They've gotten 3, 6, 12, 15 points from their bench tonight. That's it. On top of that, they've got 6 players on the bench that have not sniffed more than 5 minutes of playing time, we'll say the entire playoffs. That's a problem. And that's an issue. And that, to me, is the biggest story of these playoffs. That, to me, is the biggest issue here with the Cavaliers. Okay? Vincent, good evening. Reporter Ron, good evening. Deck, hello. User, hello. Daniel, good evening. Quite honestly, that's the issue here with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell has done everything he can in this entire series. Okay, for tonight, 8 of 16, so he's shooting 50% from the field, right? 19 points in 28 minutes. Not bad. Not a bad line for him. You're getting your James Harden game tonight. 19 points, 8 of 15 in 31 minutes. Now, Harden and Mitchell are a combined 3 of 14 from the three-point line. That's a problem. That's an issue. And we're seeing that tonight creep up. Jay, good evening. DMM, good evening. Sticky, I saw you back in here. I'm not sure if you're back in. User, I see you. Slims, good evening. Harvey, Andrew, hello. Welcome into the Last Row podcast. There is a contingency of Knicks legends in and around Cleveland tonight. They are there in the crowd cheering on the Knicks. Now, look, there's a lot of time left here, okay? There's plenty of time to go on a 12-2 run type of thing and get this thing back for the Cavs. But they've got to do something here to get going, because right now it's just not looking good. And right now Kenny Atkinson is coaching for his proverbial job. And like I've said before, unless it's an NBA title, I don't believe that Atkinson will save his job. But you look at what the starters have done tonight for Cleveland. Look, the starters have shown up. The problem is they don't get any rest time. They don't get any time to recover because you only have 4 bench players that you're going with, and you've got another 6 guys that you're not even bringing out. And that is just bad coaching to me. Daryl, good evening. Bry Guy, good evening. Ronnie, hello. MP, good evening. How are you? So, Kenny Atkinson, to me, is coaching absolutely for his life right now. And, again, I don't believe that, and this is just me, talking here as a fan of overall, okay? I don't see how Cleveland gets by them. I don't see it. I just don't. I mean, you're playing 4 guys off your bench. You've got to be able to have a rotation where guys are coming in, relieving your starters and getting your starters, some time to rest. Not, good evening, Reagan, not 30 seconds to a minute. Yeah, we're talking about that. A Reverend Mystic, welcome in. Peter, welcome in. Ari, welcome in. Webby, welcome in. Christian, welcome in. Retro New, welcome in. I will just tell you right here and now that Kenny Atkinson will be gone after this series. Unless if they somehow stage a comeback and win. But I don't see that happening at all. I'm just going to be completely frank with you. What I'm seeing right now, Sticky, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that's a fact. That's why I don't agree with you saying it's a hot take. I think it's a fact. I think Detroit would have put up a better fight. But realistically, I don't think anybody was getting through New York. Now, I will say this much. I don't know any team that would have gotten through either San Antonio or Oklahoma City. I think that's your NBA Finals right now. Because of the fact that you have 2 really well-coached teams. And 2 teams that are absolutely going to do everything they can to win and play defense the right way, play ball the right way. You don't see really bad possessions out of either one of those teams. You do see that with New York and with and I'll throw Detroit in there with New York, Detroit, and Cleveland. So That's where my thought is on the NBA spectrum right now. Is I don't think either one of these teams, Cleveland or New York, will get by Oklahoma City or um, San Antonio. And I'll just be honest with you. I think Oklahoma City and San Antonio are going to be around for a very long time. And Sticky, you're right. Spurs and Thunder have very young, talented players on their teams. You're exactly right. And that's why they're not going anywhere. And they're really well coached. Now, the one part of this that I think could make a difference is if you see some of those young assistants, like, for example, Sean Sweeney, with whom I think the Chicago Bulls really like, if they start to get poached for other coaching jobs. I think that will happen, and I think that will make a big difference. But then you've got other assistants that can step right into their role. So, again, it's the talent, it's how you draft, it's how you develop. And Oklahoma City and San Antonio, let's be honest here, since OKC has moved or relocated from Seattle to Oklahoma City, you see a much more consistent development of young players. Same with San Antonio. San Antonio has been that way for years. You had David Robinson and Sean Elliott. Then you bring in Tim Duncan. Then you bring in Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. And you just have a constant inflow of young talent coming in. And that's what we're seeing with both Oklahoma City and San Antonio. And I just think that those two teams are so far ahead of the East right now, it's not funny. And that's the part of me that's struggling right now with saying anybody from the East can come in. So again, I think that overall, I just feel that overall, the Knicks and Cavs are going to be way outmatched. Rick, good evening. Mark, good evening. Hey, if somebody can get, Matt Ishbia on the phone for me, that would be great. I would love every second of it. Trust me. I will just say this much too. You have to build through the draft, and no matter how much you want to try, and look, I think the NFL is starting to get really guilty of this, and I'll be honest, and everybody knows here how much I love the NFL. And that's not sarcastic, that's legit. You're starting to see average players get paid like great players. And I think you're starting to see that in the NBA. And I think that puts unfair expectations on these other players. And it's just not fair. And I just think that overall, look, Cleveland mortgaged their future to get, Donovan Mitchell and to get, these players. And quite honestly, it's just not good. They don't have any healthy, they don't have a bench. I mean, now, let me rephrase that. They have a bench. Kenny Atkinson just refuses to play them. And I'm not a Cleveland fan. Okay? Not a Cleveland fan. I'm not a Knicks fan. I don't have a dog in this fight. But the Knicks are just playing a better brand of ball right now, both offensively and defensively. The other thing, too, that the Knicks don't have that helps them, they don't have James Harden. James Harden is an offensive killer. And quite honestly, any team that brings him in, yes, you may get to the playoffs, but you're not going to win a title. He doesn't like to run offensive sets. Some get me wrong. The Knicks are hungry. The fans want to see a championship in New York. Yeah, I get that, Sticky. I totally get it. Of course the Knicks fans want a title. They want a title very, very badly. But I just don't think the Knicks have enough power and fight to get through maybe San Antonio, maybe, but certainly not Oklahoma City. And when you've got, New York right now up by 14 with 7 to go. I mean, look, Cleveland's got to step up defensively. But it's hard to step up defensively, and it's hard to work offensively when you do not have adequate rest. And I know people say, "Oh, Brian, you're harping on the bench too much." That's my point. The bench, you get no rest for your starters when you're playing 4 guys. I mean, it's just awful. I mean, we look at the field goal percentage. Look, Cleveland's shooting 49%. Okay? They're shooting 29% from threes. Now, if we look at the turnovers, Cleveland's got 15 of them. James Harden and Evan Mobley lead the way with 5 each. So two starters account for 10 of your 15 turnovers. That's what I mean when I say that James Harden is an offense killer. James Harden is absolutely an offense killer. You've got, let's see here. For the Knicks, you've got 12 turnovers. So not good either way on the turnover battle, but you look at New York and what they're doing. They're shooting 57% from the field, and they're shooting 40% from 3. So it's just too much. It's just too much. And Sticky, I agree with you. Jalen Brunson is one of the top 5 guards in the NBA right now. And we're seeing a star emerge here. Yeah, Christian, I saw that. I was rooting for Montreal hard. I'm not going to lie. Just because I want to see Montreal get there, because I like the story of Martin St. Louis, and I heard, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So stick with me. But again, with the Knicks right now, I mean the Knicks are just playing a dominant brand of ball. I mean, there's another 3. It's 110 to 96 right now, and I mean, Cleveland just knows they have nothing here. And you don't get any type of rest for your starters. And that's the problem here. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the Cavs are struggling the way they are. But it doesn't help when 2 of your starters have 5 turnovers apiece. It doesn't help. The other factor is, too, it doesn't help when James Harden, who really is a 3-point maker, that's his job, okay, anymore, he's 1 of 7. He's 1 of 7 from 3-point range. You bring Harden in, you expect him to do more. And he's not. He's just not. So this does not shock me at all that the Knicks are pulling away here. It doesn't shock me here. And look, but let's be honest here, Reagan. Cavs fans are disappointing. Yeah, Christian, I see what you're saying. Yeah, then I'm not going to beat the Thunder or the Spurs if I'm the Knicks. Yeah, I agree. They're not. Yeah, there's not enough. Well, I mean, think about it though. You know you're overmatched. You're being outcoached by your former coach in Mike Brown. Number 1. Number 2. You have a coach that is inadequate when it comes to bench play. Number 3, you have an aging star that is 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. And quite honestly, you're just not that good of a team. And I think it was Sticky that said it earlier, that without question, Detroit would have put up a better fight, I think. But Detroit only has Cade Cunningham. I mean, the way that Jalen Duran's played all postseason, he wasn't going to do anything. So, and I mean, look, they stopped play right away here because Max Strus ran right into Brunson, and now Strus is bleeding somewhere on his hand or on his wrist, and the referees notice it. Getting to the finals means something even if you lose. Not necessarily. No, it doesn't. And I'm going to use a quote here from Michael Jordan. It doesn't mean a thing unless you get the ring. I mean, it doesn't mean a thing. Ask LeBron James. People want to talk about the GOAT, the GOAT debate, Jordan versus LeBron. There's no debate. Jordan never lost in the finals. Jordan never lost a series in the finals. Let me rephrase that. So, New York right now leading 2-0. Soon to be 3-0. This series is done as of Monday night. This series is done as of Monday. And credit to Mike Brown for doing probably the one thing he didn't want to do. Bears Nation, good evening. 7-Eleven, hello. RB, good evening. J-Rod, hello. Snail, good evening. Puma, good evening. Got some animals joining us and bugs. Anyway, give credit to Mike Brown for doing the one thing he probably really didn't want to do. And that's get or utilize the thing that really was your bread and butter the last couple years, which was Tom Thibodeau. Utilizing the offensive and defensive sets of a coach that's no longer there. Kudos to Mike Brown for recognizing that. Kudos to the players for stepping up and saying, look, we need to do that because that's what we're good at. And recognizing that that's what it takes. And Mike Brown, kind of swallowing his pride a little bit and saying, okay, look, my sets aren't what you like. That's fine. Let's do what's working. And that's what's been working. That's what's been working. But I think this is more, not to take anything away from New York, because the way New York has played has been outstanding. All realistically here, from the last series on. Let's be honest here, but probably the last month or so of the season. New York, to me, was always the favorite because of just how well they were playing. I think this is more about how Cleveland just isn't enough. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jared Allen, there's just not enough there. I mean, one of your starters has played 17 minutes and has given you 0 points. All the meanwhile, you have two bench players, Strus and Merrill, respectively, have played 26 minutes and 22 minutes, and they have a combined 15 points. I mean, that's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's a 12-point lead, 3:40 to go. And I just don't believe that there's enough here. I just don't believe it. And again, Donovan Mitchell is doing everything he can. I think Jared Allen is doing everything he can. They just have they've gotten zero rest. I mean, let's just call it what it is here. Zero rest for those two guys. And Cleveland has not been able to respond. And it's unfortunate because I think Donovan Mitchell was one of the better younger players in the league when he was paired with Rudy Gobert in Utah. But now that you've separated the two of them, I think you're seeing that collectively they were better together than they are apart. Mitchell can still score, there's no question. But the bottom line is, without that big man presence type of thing, that's going to get you, 15 and 20 respectively, or 20 and 20, you don't have anything. And the Knicks are just pouring it on at this point. I mean, the Knicks recognize, look, they recognize that they can still dominate without taking 43s a game, unlike Cleveland. Cleveland has continued to just chuck it up there. They're 11 of 38 from the three-point line. 11 of 38 from the three-point line. I want to see what they are. And they're 11 of 18 from the free throw line. That's not going to get it done. And I'm sorry, look, I know everybody wants to. Oh man, what a poor effort by Cleveland. I mean, yeah, Monty, yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength here. I mean, Jalen Brunson right there to make it 118 to 102. Brunson just went around Max Strus. Nobody bothered to come and help. And Brunson just made an easy layup. And, I mean, just awful defense. Horrible. And this is why the fans in Cleveland have been so angry over the last year and a half, 2 years now with Kenny Atkinson, because there's no defensive toughness. There's nothing there. And when you have players like James Harden, who does one thing really, really well, and that's score the basketball. Anymore in the NBA, you have to have good two-way players. You have to have players that can play defense and play offense. And they have to be good on both ends. Anymore, if you don't have that, you're not going to have a good team. Again, prime example. Sacramento. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Great scorers in their own respective ways. DeRozan with the mid-range game. LaVine can do, three and dunk. But again, if you can't play defense, you're not going to do anything. So I don't care if Travis Kelce is in Cleveland with Taylor Swift and he chugs 10 beers. It's not going to do anything. The bottom line is you have to have a defensive game plan. And if you don't have players that can defend at a high level, you're not going to win games, especially in the playoffs. Especially in the playoffs. And when nobody is willing to help, I mean, other than Donovan Mitchell, you don't have anything. And to me, New York just plays a better style of defense. And, I mean, again, you've got to have guys that are willing to step up. Oh, my God, Sticky, that's awful. Why would you go so low? That's horrible. That's horrible. Saying you got the Browns at least. And there's a huge contingency of Knicks fans there. And, I mean, that's bad. That's bad. Yeah, I know you are, Sticky. You're good. I mean, the Knicks fans are traveling well. I'll say this much. The Knicks fans are traveling really, really well this postseason. I don't know if I have ever seen the Knicks fans travel this well before. And I'm being sincere when I say that. I mean, I know, Spike would go to Chicago or Indianapolis, things like that. I mean, that's not a flagrant foul. Well, I mean, why? I'm wondering if they're looking at if it was a 2 or a 3, maybe. I mean, if they're looking at this for a flagrant, that's ridiculous. The only thing I can think of is if they're looking at it, Monty, for lack of a better term, clear landing spot. So we'll have to see. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to hear from our friends over at I Know a Guy Remodeling. And then we will come back. We will talk about this game. We'll talk about the hockey game and go from there right here on the Last Row Podcast. All right, folks. We all know in the NBA playoffs there's no hiding weaknesses. Bad defenses exposed. No depth exposed. And trust me, that outdated kitchen or busted up bathroom in your house, yeah, those are getting exposed too. That's where my guys that I know a guy remodeling come in. If you need a bathroom refresh, a basement remodel, new flooring, kitchen update, new landscaping, these are the folks to get in contact with when you want the job done right the first time. Think of them as the veteran free agent signing your house desperately needs. Dependable, professional, and clutch when it matters the most. So stop putting off those home projects and make the winning move. You can check out a link to their Facebook page on our website, www.lastrowpodcast.com. Tell them that Brian sent you. Because championship homes don't happen by accident, and because everybody deserves to know a guy. And now you do. I know a guy remodeling. Apparently something happened where they are looking at one of the fans because a drink spilled. Only in Cleveland, folks. Only in Cleveland. Yeah, drink spilled. There's no hope for Cleveland. I mean, I'm sorry. There's just nothing. And I mean, if the refs are having to look at the 3-point landing to get flagrants and whatnot, I mean that's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. The Knicks get the second chance points here. And look, if I were Mike Brown, again, get your starters out of the damn game. There's no reason to be in the game. No reason whatsoever. No, Harden is never going to get a ring. You're exactly right, TikToker. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't show up in the playoffs when they need him to. He's horrible on defense. He's got one good skill set, and that's shooting threes. Otherwise, he doesn't do much anymore. And he never has before either. Let's just be honest here. He's never going to win a ring. If he does, it's going to be as a bench player. And as a bench player in terms of riding the pine and not getting in for a while, because he brings nothing to a team. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He brings absolutely nothing to a team. And why are the starters... Okay, this is one of the reasons why I think Mike Brown's on the hot seat. What purpose is it? Why is Brunson still in the game? You're up here by 11. Why the hell is he still in the game? It makes zero sense. There's 25 seconds left. They are not going to go on 11-0 run. I mean, it's just pointless. And Monty, I agree with you. Nobody begs for a foul more than Harden. Now, Derrick Rose got hurt in middle of a game. At least for the Bulls. That's what you're talking about. The Bulls in Philly. When everything went downhill, started to go downhill for Derrick. Again, there's no point of Brunson being out there. There's no good reason for it. You're just asking for injury. But at this point in time, the Cavs are going to let him dribble it out. And the Knicks take a commanding 3-0 lead in this series. The Knicks fans have traveled to Cleveland and are making it known that they are there and they are not going away. It's the first time in franchise history with a 3-0 lead in multiple best-of-7 series. That's incredible. You think about the Knicks' history. The Knicks are up 3-0. Cleveland is, looking at them walking back to the locker room, they are so exhausted. They are just absolutely gutted right now. Fifth consecutive road win by 10 points or more for the Knicks. Wow. That's incredible. And yes, TikToker, you are correct. He did tear his ACL with a $122. I did just look that up. You're right. You're correct. My apologies. I can remember exactly where I was when that happened, by the way. It was horrible watching it. It was awful. And that's what started the downfall of Rose's career. Because then mentally he could not get back to it. Mentally, he was not able to get over that injury. All right, let's take a look here at the box score. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, we've gone through it here kind of ad nauseum, but we'll do it again. Dean Wade, 17 minutes, 0 points. Jarrett Allen did what he could, 17 points in 36 minutes, 7 rebounds. Evan Mobley with 24 points in 35 minutes. He led the Cavs tonight. James Harden in 41 minutes, 19 points, 1 of 7 from the three-point line, 5 turnovers. Donovan Mitchell in 38 minutes, 23 points. He was 9 of 21 from the field, 3 of 10 from the three-point line. Mobley, Harden, and Mitchell on the turnover side for Cleveland. Of their 16 team turnovers, those three, Mobley, Harden, and Mitchell, 3 of your starters, had 15 combined turnovers. Thank you, catching up with Cody. Appreciate the heart, man. Appreciate you. So, 15 out of 16 turnovers came from your starters. Not going to win many playoff games like that. All right, and again, looking at the bench, Schroeder played 9 minutes, 3 points. Strus played 31. 31 minutes, 13 points. Merrill played 23 minutes, had 6 points. Tyson played 9 minutes, 3 points. They shot 42 of 84 from the field, 12 of 41 from the three-point line, which is 29%. For the Knicks, OG Anunoby, 21 points in 30 minutes, 6 of 10 from the field. Karl Anthony Towns, 13 points in 36 minutes. You're not getting much out of the cat. You're not. Let's call it what it is. Josh Hart, 12 points in 34 minutes, 9 rebounds. Mikal Bridges, 22 points, 39 minutes. Jalen Brunson in 41 minutes, 30 points. Your bench, Robinson with 2 points, Clarkson with 0. Shamet in 27 minutes had 14 points. Alvarado had 2 points, and McBride had 5. Now look, in this game tonight, we saw Mike Brown do what Mike Brown normally does, and that's go with 5 guys. So at least you have, 5 guys that you can rotate in versus only using 4 and continuing to use 4. And I agree with you, Reagan. Cat's impact tonight was much better. Much more than what the stat sheet shows. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, no turnovers. Bippin says trade Mitchell for something good, need some bench players and a forward. I don't think Mitchell's your problem. Donovan Mitchell is giving max effort. Your problem is you have a coach that doesn't like anybody on his bench. The other problem is you have an aging veteran in James Harden, and that's a problem. James Harden is realistically, as a starter, your biggest problem. He slows offenses down. Yes, Sticky. And by the way, it's Brian with a Y if you're going to do it. Yeah, I mean, Harden's not going to get dealt. Nobody wants him. I'm sorry, nobody does. Maybe Sacramento. I mean, you could trade him for Zach LaVine, but then again, you're getting somebody that doesn't play defense. So there's that element to it. Um, you need bench help. You absolutely need bench help. And you need a coach that's going to play the bench or that's going to value the bench. And Kenny Atkinson doesn't do that. And Kenny Atkinson is not going to trust Larry Nance Jr. or Tomlin or Bryant or Porter or Ellis or Proctor. We saw it maybe for a minute and a half the last game. And that was it. And look, credit to the Knicks. They are now in a perfect position, 3-0, with a chance to sweep on Monday night. And I guarantee you, if they sweep, New York is going to go ballistic. Because unfortunately for the Knicks fans, they've got to face either the Spurs or the Thunder. And I don't think anybody's getting by those guys. I just don't. Eddie, welcome in. I saw E come in. Excuse me. No, I mean, Monty, the Atkinson's a problem. Atkinson's a problem. I mean, Bippin, you can dream, right? Trade Mitchell for Vassell and Harper. We're not getting Harden, or we're not signing Harden. New coach, trade Allen for bench pieces. I mean, Allen's is your best forward. I mean, he's your center. I mean, who are you going to play at center? I mean, I'm being legitimately serious when I ask that. Who are you going to play at center? Well, and that's a big part of it. That's a really big part of it, Reagan, is that as an assistant in Golden State, he didn't have anything to answer for. In Brooklyn, he didn't have to answer for anything. In Cleveland, he doesn't really have to answer anything, but there are expectations. And when you go out and when you bring in a Donovan Mitchell and a James Harden, guess what? There become expectations. And again, I think Kenny Atkinson is a really good assistant coach. I don't think that he's a good head coach. Sticky, same to you. Good night. So again, I don't believe that he's not the right guy in Cleveland. I don't know really who is. I don't know anybody that would put up with James Harden, really. I think James Harden needs to go. That's me. I think Harden is your biggest issue starting-wise. LeBron will fix it. Laker fans waiting for him to leave. I don't think LeBron James at 42 would be able to fix this team. I'm sorry, I don't. Yeah, Monty, I know. I know he did, but look at who he had, though. Kyrie, KD, two other bona fide starters and stars. Harden's useful off the bench. Yeah, when he's off the bench, the problem is he's not off the bench. He's starting. Yeah, I know. Three unique enigmas. That's for sure, Monty, no doubt. Monty, are you in Chicago this weekend? Doesn't your future son-in-law have his bachelor party this weekend? I thought it was in Chicago. I try. Yeah, I think the Lakers do want to build around that. They left the old man home. That is not fair. Well, you know what? It's probably all for the best based on how the Cubs have played. So, yeah, taking on the yeah. Oh, there's heat right now in Chicago too. By the way, there's a lot of heat right now in Chicago on Craig Counsell. So there's a lot of people that are calling for Counsell to be fired already in year 2, which I don't agree with. Anthony, good evening. Vincent, good evening. Doctor, by the way, good evening. All right, so the Knicks realistically are going to wrap this up Monday night. Let's just call it what it is, okay? The Knicks are going to wrap this up on Monday night. I believe that you're going to have the Knicks and OKC. Yeah, right? Yeah. And can I just say this real quick? Hey, Mayor Johnson needs to be fired. That's not an. I'll stand by that statement. Guys screwing around with the Bears and delaying the stadium even more. Tool bag. I'm going to say this real quick. Draymond Green should not be on TV either. He's okay, but I mean, maybe he takes Shaq's spot. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, deserves to be fired and replaced immediately for what he's done to screw the Bears over. I still think, and this is just me talking here, I don't know anything regarding this, so I'm just speculating. I think Arlington Heights gets announced at the end of June, right before training camp begins. I believe that's when it gets announced. Because I know they're not going to get anything done here by May 31st. But I think that Governor Pritzker is going to step in and get things done to keep them in Chicago. Or Illinois. Not Chicago, but Illinois. And then Arlington Heights will be where they go. All right. Let's talk here for a few moments about the NHL. Oh, I'd put him up against Newsom. I think they're both garbage, but I'd put Pritzker up against Newsom. Both of them have aspirations to be at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and I don't think either one of them will get there. So, but that's just me talking out loud. So, all right, Carolina avoided a second straight home loss tonight with a 3-2 overtime win over the Canadiens to even their series at 1-1. Montreal went in there and did what they wanted to do. They got a split. So, Carolina played very well tonight. They were back to being the Hurricanes that everybody knows from this season. Yeah, it's a long time. 20 years. Check that, 20 years. First Eastern Conference Final win in 20 years in Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah. They're still looking at like a team, though, that's searching for goals, in my opinion. And, I mean, look, they needed a key goal, and Eller's got it for them. And again, I believe overall that you have a really solid Montreal team that's not going away easy. I'm just going to say that now. And Montreal, I think, is going to continue to play. They're going to continue to play their brand of puck possession and not shooting. Not shooting as much as they need to. But I mean, tonight, the best factor about tonight is the fact they got a split. Now, Montreal would have won it, obviously, 2-0. But they stole home ice advantage. But it would have put them in the same situation that Colorado's in. And the teams that dropped their first 2 home games in the best of 7 are 1-20 all time. So, teams are 0-13 when they lose the first 2 games at home in a best of 7. That's since 1982. The Canadians didn't play bad tonight. Goaltending was strong again for Montreal. I can't say that enough. He is playing incredibly well for a rookie. And they lost the puck possession battle tonight. They still generated a good amount of shots. There's no question about that. And really good chances, too. They had some really good chances tonight, did Montreal. They just couldn't get it in the net. But, look, they split the series in Carolina, and that's what they wanted to do. Okay? Team to watch, or a player to watch in Game 3 per ESPN here is Taylor Hall. Now, look, I'm not going to agree with that. Taylor Hall is older. He's not as fast or athletic as he once was. Oh, my God, goes to the Gozerians in here. Help us all. Sorry, that just got me to chuckle and got me off topic. Because in my mind, I'm going through Ghostbusters lines. Sorry, the original Ghostbusters. But Hall was a driving force behind his line in the first 2 rounds. He doesn't have a point and has skated to a -3 in the first 2 games of this series. That's why I'm questioning why ESPN is saying he's the player to watch in Game 3. For the Canadiens, Nick Suzuki is the guy they want to watch for. In the 13 playoff wins, Suzuki has a point in each game. So as he goes, the Canadiens go. So that to me is that's a big win there for Montreal. If Suzuki can get going, then they have a really good shot of winning. And if he doesn't get going, then they're going to lose. So now, with Montreal going back home, and Montreal is going to be incredibly loud and raucous and ready to go. So, without question, they're going to be set and ready to go. So that will be on Monday night as well. Okay, let's talk here a little bit about what's up, Lego. How you doing? Let's talk here about Kyle Busch for a moment. It came out that he died from severe pneumonia and sepsis. Started out as a sinus infection and very quickly traveled to his lungs and then became deadly. And Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500 is going to honor him tomorrow in a very classy move. Very classy move, in my opinion. That is really, really good as far as I'm concerned. They have said that his car number will be retired until his 11-year-old son is ready to drive in. Please cover Busch very clearly, please. Okay, Lego, sorry. Not sure what you mean there. We've talked a lot about Kyle Busch here, and not being a very big NASCAR guy, but knowing the knowing the impact that he had on NASCAR. He will absolutely go down as one of the all-time greats. And I still go back to what he said last week, and it's very haunting now. You never know when your last one is going to be. And I just wish they would have caught this sooner. I just wish they would have. Because I don't know if there's been, and we've talked about this all week here on the show. I don't know if there's been a bigger death in NASCAR since Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Dale Earnhardt, excuse me. Um, and that says something. With Biffle dying horrifically in the plane crash, obviously, that was tragic, of course. But when Dale Earnhardt died, that was unthinkable. You didn't think the Intimidator was ever going to go. And then now Kyle Busch. And it's just 41 years of age is just far too young. Far too young. So I guess what to me at least, what I'm imploring all of us to do is if you are sick, don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to be fine." If you are sick, go to the doctor. Whether it's viral, whether it's, illness, whatever. At least then you know. But I know he tried desperately, and he went to, he called for the doctor last week at the race and said that, he wanted he wanted to see the doctor for a shot because he had, he was having sinus stuff happening. So again, I think that means, at least to me, that, he knew something wasn't right. And my heart breaks for that entire family and for the NASCAR community because it's just heartbreaking. So tomorrow with the Indianapolis 500 taking place, they will honor him. And I think that's going to be very, very cool to see and to have. So make sure you check that out if you get the opportunity to. We will be back with you Monday night. We will not be here tomorrow night. I have a prior engagement that I have, a show with the band that I play in at a private club from 5 till 9. So realistically, it'll be from 3 till like 11 that I'll be gone. So I will not be back tomorrow night for you. So we will catch up on Monday night with the Spurs and the Thunder. I fully expect, I'm just going to tell you here, I expect Oklahoma City to win a very physical game. You know what? I don't think his brother still does, Monty. I don't know. Let me look. I don't know. He retired full-time from NASCAR Cup Series, although he is occasionally active in the VE, the Vintage Exhibition. So again, I expect Oklahoma City tomorrow night to win a very physical game. I think Wembanyama has a bounce-back night, but I think Oklahoma City has kind of cracked the code there. And Oklahoma City is going to need SGA, and they got to get a big game from Holmgren. And I think the last game kind of unlocked something with him. I think Game 2 did. Yeah, they need him. Yeah. Honestly, I think Hartenstein needs to play the 5, and Holmgren needs to play the stretch 4. I don't think that, and I think Mark Daniel, who's a very good coach, understands that. I think he knows that, and I think that's what he is aiming for and what he's going to try to do. Wemby might get 40 again. But if he does, that's okay. Just don't let Castle and the other crew add on to it. But you're starting to see in this series a little bit of chippiness. And that's something to watch for tomorrow night, is how physical is it. if it's incredibly physical, you're going to see the referees call a very tight game tomorrow night. If it's not as physical as we expect, it'll be loose because that's how the refs have called it. But by far, this series has been the best series so far, I think, of the playoffs. I think. Yeah, Monty. I would love to talk about the Cubs, but I don't want to depress anybody right now. Craig Counsell needs to address how he's writing the lineup. Ian Happ as your cleanup hitter just is not working. Neither is Pete Crow Armstrong in the 9 or the 4 hole. So I look, there's a number of things that need to happen. Jed Hoyer, I think, is as much on the hook right now as anybody. Jed Hoyer, the general manager or president of the Cubs, needs to be held accountable. He just does. And he didn't bring in pitching help when they needed pitching help, and they still need pitching help. He did not bring in a viable catcher. He did not bring in a viable right fielder, which you needed. You've hung on to Ian Happ too long, and now you don't have anything good happening, and that boat is sinking, as Monty so eloquently put from Michael Ray Richardson. The boat is sinking. Yes, the boat is sinking and sinking quickly. And the injuries that have happened are a convenient excuse, but I think ultimately you need to look at the training staff of the Cubs. They need to go away. They need to go far, 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 far away because they're not good at all. So the Cubs need help. I don't think the Freddie Peralta trade that is being talked about right now, at least, in some circles, is the answer. I think you need to bring up Jackson Wiggins. You need to bring up some of your young pitching prospects. Because you know what? What better way to find out if you've got anything with them than to bring them up? That's what they did with Cade Horton last year, and they found a star. I just have to say real quick, and I'm sorry I just got distracted. Charles Barkley tonight with that suit and tie combo, brilliant. Looks incredible. Love it. Absolutely love it. That is a sharp as hell suit and tie combo. Sorry. I don't think they're going to be sellers at the deadline, Bill. They should be, maybe, but they're not going to give up Pete Crow Armstrong. They should have given up Ian Happ 2 years ago. I'm sorry, they should have. Dansby Swanson should go away. While he provides phenomenal defense at short, which is true, offensively he sucks. Michael Busch has been good. You need a legitimate catcher. I'm sorry, you don't have one. You don't have a legitimate right fielder. And you need pitching help, big time. So I think they need to bring up a lot of their young pitchers, Jackson Wiggins being one of them. I think you need to bring up your young hitters to help out. But I still think this division is within reach for the Cubs. Because once the weather gets warmer at Wrigley, then they start hitting. And once they start hitting, then they can, July, June and July at Wrigley is different than April and May. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, we will be back with you tomorrow night. Monty, can they get anything for trading for Taillon? Yeah, maybe a bag of balls. Taillon's not going to fetch you anything. If you want any type of big name player, you're going to have to get rid of probably your best top 2 prospects, one of them being Jackson Wiggins. And that's just not going to work. And if Jed Hoyer does that, he needs to be run out of town very quickly. All right. We will be back with you Monday night for an edition of the Last Row podcast. So I hope everybody enjoys their Sunday. I hope everybody has a great and safe Sunday. And then we will be back with you on Monday night as we get you set for the Eastern Conference Finals. Game number 4, we recap the Western Conference Finals and more. So until then, I'll see you in the last row.